look, it's a matter of just having that little switch. When I was a kid, like a long time ago, I was doing television as a hypnotist, as a stage hypnotist. I was doing that, you know, in conjunction with the hypnotherapy clinic I ran in Sydney. And I remember I wanted to be stiff as a board. That's a very good demonstration. You put yourself between two chairs or somebody picks you up, you're stiff as a board, and then they stand on you. And I was doing this at shows and I was doing it on television. But I wasn't doing it as well as I could. So I went to a hypnotist. I went to a hypnotist like a few suburbs away, and it was a lady, and I got her to hypnotise me to give me more power, to help me, I guess, auto-suggest myself into being rigid, cataleptic. And, you know, so I employed her skill as a hypnotist to hypnotise me as a hypnotist to be able to do that better. So sometimes auto-suggestion is good, but sometimes you need an outside influence to help you with that. So a lot of people know how to, you know, program themselves for certain things, but they don't quite get there. So an outside influence can be a much quicker way for them to be, you know, able to tune into the power, the full power of their mind. You've got to remember, when people go to sleep at night, they're programming themselves, as I said, to wake up at a certain time, or maybe to dream in colour, which you can do as well, or maybe to dream solutions to your problems. But you're not in that state for very long. You then go to sleep. So the most powerful part of your mind, you're now losing access to it because you've gone to sleep. You can't keep talking to yourself. Whereas when I have a patient here or a client here for business, I can keep talking to them while I keep them in that zone, hovering in that twilight zone. I don't let them go to sleep. So I'm able to put a lot of positive suggestions into their mind in maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. You can hypnotise yourself, but do you have the control outside to be able to continue to do it? So you go to sleep. You're lying there and you're thinking, okay, I want to be better, I want to improve, I want to stop smoking, whatever. And eventually you go to sleep. So you're not really doing a good job of being a hypnotist on yourself. Plus, the problems are the words we use. Usually people want to hypnotise themselves maybe to stop smoking or make more money or, you know, lose their fears. So they'll say words like, I don't want to be stressed out anymore, I'm sick of being uptight. That's a common one that people say. Now they walk around all day saying these words. And I give a demonstration to people. I say, okay, don't think of a pink elephant. What are you thinking of? And what are you thinking of? If I say, don't think of a pink elephant, what are you thinking of?
A pink elephant.
That's right. So if I say to myself, I don't want to be stressed, all I'm doing is putting more power on that word stress and becoming more stressed. So when you hypnotise yourself or use auto-suggestion, you've got to use the right words. If you use negative words to say what you don't want, like don't think of a pink elephant, you're going to become more stressed. You're going to smoke more. And I discovered this, I think it must be 35 years ago. I was talking to a patient, I was very early in my days, and I was telling him he shouldn't smoke anymore, he won't smoke, and I woke him up. And I said, how do you feel? He said, I feel like a cigarette. I'd totally blown it because I realised then that I was harping on about you're not going to smoke again, and all it made him do was think more about smoking. So I've learned a lot in 35, 40 years. Okay, there's hetero-hypnosis, hypnotising somebody, there's self-hypnosis, as you know, which is kind of auto-suggestion, same sort of thing. I've mentioned the word medical hypnosis. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I get many patients from doctors and psychiatrists and psychotherapists, and even the emergency ward at the hospital have sent me patients. So I'm definitely very aware that I'm not a medical person, I'm not a doctor, but I'm very good at what I do. My specialty is the mind, has been for all this time. So there's instant hypnosis, there's rapid induction, even NLP came along a long time after I was using it. It wasn't called that, neuro-linguistic programming, but we used to call it a psychological trigger device. And then it got fancier and fancier titles. But hypnosis has been around for probably thousands of years. We know definitely it's been around for hundreds of years. EMILE COUE who was a pharmacist and psychologist and born 170 years ago, had that phrase, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. And he would give that to his patients, and their diseases and their illnesses would disappear. So that's hypnosis. And he was born 170 years ago. I'm still using that phrase today with my patients and clients because it works. So many different types of hypnosis, but it's all basically coming down to the same thing. And nobody really knows how hypnosis works. The best definition is that it's a super concentration of the mind. If you just say the words in it and they become meaningless to you, that's no good. If you just say, oh, every day and everywhere I'm getting better and better. No. It's got to be mixed with intensity. So there has to be passion. Behind every thought, there has to be passion if it's going to become real, if it's going to manifest, if it's going to turn into a reality. So yes, you have to be you have to feel the words. And I have techniques to do that whereby I help the person visualise what they want as well as say those words. So you're getting the mental imagery as well as just saying the words. Not in the true sense of the word danger. Of course, if somebody has a heart attack during a hypnotic episode, or they're in a hypnotic session and they just decide to have a heart attack or an epileptic fit, everybody might turn around and say, oh, the hypnosis caused him to have a heart attack. Well, he was going to have the heart attack anyway. So hypnosis is just another form of consciousness. As I said, you go through hypnosis every single night. It's that twilight zone, that in-between zone. So it itself is not dangerous. But in the wrong hands, or somebody, maybe hypnotising people, if something happened to that person at the same time, it could look bad. But it itself is not harmful. I have never heard of anyone not waking up from hypnosis. That's been a conception out there, oh, maybe I won't wake up. What if the hypnotist falls over and a pot plant hits him on the head and he's unconscious, he can't wake the person up? But what happens then is the hypnotic state turns into normal sleep. It's so close to being like sleep anyway. If I leave a patient here and I walk outside and mow the lawn or something, they'll probably just go to sleep and wake up in their own time. So it's not dangerous in itself. That means something that you've told the person to do after they wake up. Now, there have been cases on record of people obeying that hypnotic suggestion 20 years later, and there have been movies made about that, But who's going to wait around 20 years and test it? For my purposes, post-hypnotic suggestion helps the person, say if they're stopping smoking, over those first hard weeks and months. And it's very, very effective. And also for weight control and for all the other problems I deal with. So I'm using post-hypnotic suggestion all the time. And that's simply giving the person suggestions that will be still carried out over the days and weeks and months ahead. It's just like going to sleep at night. It's a restful state. So I say to people all the time, look, don't expect a big curtain to come down with the words, you are now unconscious written on it. When you go to sleep, you don't get that. You just drift into natural sleep, right? So when you're hypnotised, you'll just go into a restful state. You'll feel like you're resting. You'll still hear what I'm saying. I use music in the background. If you needed to, you could open your eyes and jump up. So you're in an altered state of consciousness. In fact, you're more aware and more alert of your own being. You've not lost control, you're in more control. So that's how it feels.